What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, this was on my Swedish playlist, but we learning or seeing the realistic Viking language from the channel Jackson Crawford. This was 6 years ago, but I mean, he has a lot of subscribers, so I'm sure he still do stuff today. But we're checking this out, seeing what this about. When I seen this, I was like, this is kind of interesting. I seen it the other day, but something else caught my attention. But we checking this out, seeing what it's about. The realistic Viking language. This already look very interesting, confusing.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackson Crawford. I'm a specialist in the Old Norse language, currently teaching at the University of California, Berkeley, previously at UCLA, and as of August 2017, happy to be returning home to the Rocky Mountains to teach at the University of Colorado Boulder. I've also translated the Poetic Edda, which is the main source of the myths of the Norse gods and heroes, into contemporary English.
Oh,
and
wow.
in September 2017, my translation of the saga of the Volsungs and the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok will be published as well. I'm back today with another video about a topic in Norse language and myth. And in this video, I'd just like to address something I get asked about sometimes, which is what would be realistic language to depict Vikings speaking? A lot of different movies and TV shows and games take different solutions to this problem. For instance, if you watch the movie 13th Warrior, the Vikings are speaking modern Scandinavian languages. Or if you watch the American version of Pathfinder, you will see the Vikings speaking modern Icelandic, which is often confused for Old Norse. Or if you watch the very strange movie Outlander, the alien in that movie speaks Old Norse. Or if you watch Frozen, to which I contributed, you'll actually see and hear a little bit of Old Norse. But
Frozen?
It is very unusual to see anyone actually make an attempt to have the language match not just the place, but the right time. And this is a more complicated question than it may appear at first. Using the modern Scandinavian languages is one strategy, but of course these languages have changed over time. You can't depict Ragnar Lothbrok speaking modern Danish and expect that to actually be a realistic depiction of what someone spoke in Denmark in, say, the 800s AD. But you also can't exactly use the Old Norse that you'll find in an Old Norse textbook and say that's what someone would speak in Denmark in the 800s AD, because it isn't. There were differences between the Scandinavian languages spoken already at that time. So if we take one sentence and then compare it in different Scandinavian languages at different times, we'll see a little sample of how much the language has changed and what kind of choices you have to make when deciding what languages Vikings should speak. If we pull out an Old Norse textbook, something like Evie Gordon's Introduction to Old Norse, or Michael Barnes and Anthony Falk's New Introduction to Old Norse, the form that you would find for the sentence, I burn your house, or I'm burning your house, something a Viking might want to have said to an Englishman, would be Ek brenni husþitt. But it needs to be pointed out that textbook Old Norse is Old Icelandic, because the language that most of the sagas, as well as...
Hold up, I need to hear him say that. Ek brenni husþitt.
The poems
what is that letter?
That textbook Old Norse is Old Icelandic, because the language that most of the sagas, as well as the poems the Poetic Edda are written in, is Old Icelandic. Since this is the dialect that there's the most to read in, this is the dialect that all introductory textbooks focus on. Old Danish, and in particular Viking Age Old Danish, like Ragnar Lothbrok would have spoken, would have been similar, but there's at least one major difference. The word for I in early East Norse, that is Old Danish or Old Swedish, is not ek like it is in the West in Icelandic and Norwegian. It's jak. So a little bit more realistic depiction of, say, a Ragnar figure would be him saying jak brenni husþitt, I burn your house. It's also possible in Old Norse to reverse the word order of the word house and your, hus and thit. So he could have said jak brenni thithus. It's notable that in the modern Scandinavian languages,
that's very interesting. That's different. Just to see that difference right there. I mean, of course, just in lettering, but I'm telling you, if I were just to see this without having an open mind, I would be like, what is this saying? I mean, even even what he said, you know, I'm burning your house down, or I'm going to burn your house down, whichever. Like, just looking at it, I'm trying to figure. I don't know what this letter is, cause he was like Hustit, Yak bene Hustit. Like, I don't know.
Swedish and Danish that come from Old East Norse, which is this. Here's Swedish, here's Danish. The word order that's been chosen is your house, ditt hus. But in the West Scandinavian languages today, which descend from this form, what we consider sort of classical Old Norse, Old Icelandic, we see huset dit, huset dit. This is Icelandic, this is Norwegian. House, your. House, your. Also notice that in something like classical Old Swedish, which I've written here, Jak Branner Thithus, this would be roughly contemporary with this Old Icelandic. These would be about from the 1200s. This would be from about 800. Notice that here, the verb is already changing somewhat. We have an old third-person singular form of the verb replacing the old first singular form of the verb. So the old form for saying I burn is replaced by the form for he, she, it burns. It would be like saying I burns your house in English. Or notice how modern Icelandic often claim to be identical to Old Norse. You can say something very similar to this. You can say ég brenni husið þitt. But a more typical utterance in modern Icelandic would actually use a fairly different verb structure. You would say ég að brenna husið þitt, which is sort of similar to saying in English, I am burning your house. Present tense, basic statement of a present tense activity versus ég brenni husið þitt, which sounds a little bit more like I habitually burn your house, which seems improbable. So, depending on just exactly how right you want to be, you could depict Ragnar saying all kinds of different things. You could have him saying in modern Danish, forgive my Danish accent, I'm a Norwegian speaker, ja blanda det hus. Or you could try saying, oh, well, modern Icelandic is basically the same as Old Norse, and have him saying, ég brenna husið þitt. Or you could take classical Old Swedish as being sort of similar to classical Old Danish, which there isn't as much of. Jak brenner þitt hus. Or you could just take textbook Old Norse and say, ek brenni hus þitt. Or if you really want to pay a grad student $5 to have him or her work on language in your movie and get it just right, you could have Ragnar say, jak brenni hus þitt, which is more probably Old Danish from about the 800s. I hope this has given you some idea of just how various and interesting the question of what language is spoken by who, when, and where can be. And from the University of California, Berkeley, I'm wishing you all the best.
That's cool. And I know I said just Jackson Crawford, that's just the channel, but Dr. Crawford, I'm gonna have to follow him. Get him. His breakdown, I pretty much understood. I like the fact that I understood. He broke that down he made it pretty simple, I feel like. You know, just seeing how different, everything is. Like he said, I believe he was saying up here, like just the way how this sentence is from the 800s AD, then, you know, how it changed by 1200. So, but now I understood this breakdown. That's pretty cool. This guy's smart though. He seems like, I understood it. It seems simple, but I feel like he simplified it, made it a little simpler to understand at least. But appreciate whoever added this to the playlist. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out more. Every time I learn about the Viking Age, it's always interesting. It's always something new that I see. So I think that's pretty cool. But that's all I have for this video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.